after picking the Thunder to win the NBA Cup last week, and then
Yeah.
I'm watching them play in the first round of the NBA Cup this week, I'm like, damn, that was a pretty damn good pick
Yeah.
because that Thunder team looked really, really
Yeah.
good. And, part of it is they are just so suffocating defensively, and like they are just everywhere. They're picking you up 94 feet, like Caruso and Casey Wallace, and Lou Dort is like literally in Luka's jersey, and
Yeah. Literally.
like Hardenstein, they've only lost one game since Hardenstein's been back in the lineup. Like he has been so good. We haven't even seen him and Chet Holmgren together. They have the best defensive rating in the NBA. They lead the league in turnovers forced per game. They have the lowest opponent field goal percentage in the league. They're doing everything that they can. Like it feels like they're forcing 20 plus turnovers a night. Like this is a team that is just so good and so locked in on the defensive end. And then you look at the head of the snake on the offensive end, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Sure. He just looked unguardable in that game, honestly. Like I'm sitting there going, there's not a single person in the entire friggin' state of Texas that can guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the way that he was playing the other night. Never mind on the Mavericks roster. Yeah. And they tried different looks. And I know PJ Washington was out. I'm not even sure if that's a player they would really test out putting on Shai. They probably would have had to try it the other night just because they had no other answers. But it didn't matter who they put on him. They had absolutely no chance of guarding him. He is so good. He gets to his spots. He hits his shots. Like he's just relentless. Like he's got to be the most frustrating player in the league to guard because even if it's like one of those things where like really talented offense beats really good defense. And like, he's just stop, go, get to his spot. He rises up, you contest a shot, still nothing but net. And, with him and J-Dub playing the way that he does offensively and the way they play off of each other and guys just starting to knock down threes around them, like that is a really talented team that when you start, and we did this with Denver last year of like, oh, like Denver, Boston, like that's going to be an awesome NBA finals. Like, look at how these teams match up with each other. And it doesn't always pan out that way. But like, I was watching that team go up against Dallas the other night and I'm like, this would be a slugfest of an NBA finals. And just in terms of teams that play similar, they both like to play smaller, faster, switchy. They trust all their guys on defense. They trust everyone. Like they play off of each other well. They trust everyone to knock down shots. And to watch two teams go back and forth, I'm sure there's going to be like, there would be a lot of like the old man yells at cloud of like, oh, they're shooting too many threes or like, I don't like the way that they're playing or whatever. But like in terms of like today's NBA, like that would be a beautiful brand of basketball for the NBA finals.
No, 100%. I like what you pointed out about the Thunder, specifically Shai. I forget who it was, but it was one of those like, who's the hardest guy in the league to guard? And some guys, it might have been Herb Jones, but I don't think it was Herb Jones. But it was a really good defender that was explaining what makes Shai so difficult to guard. And it's his deception. And a lot of times he sets traps for defenders, puts them in a position where he wants you to be. So now you're like, I have to let him shoot this over me or I have to foul him. And people call it foul baiting, whatever. It's a skill to be able to draw fouls. I don't want to hear it. That's a skill to be able to get to the line and draw fouls. And every great scorer does that. You can be a good scorer and not get to the line. But in order to be a great scorer, you get to the line. All great scorers have done that, or elite scorers. And that's what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is. Like, you can pencil this guy in for 30 pretty much every night. And that's a big part of it. So I'm excited to see that. And you mentioned their defensive identity and like what they're doing on the defensive end. The Rockets are also have this defensive identity, which again, we talked about last year was really impressive. And we said the same thing about the Magic last year too. For a young team to buy in so much, and I think that speaks to Ime Udoka, and probably because they're a little scared if they don't do what he tells them to do on the defensive end. So shout out to Fear being the motivator there. But it might legit feel like a game 7 when you have these two teams, because like the final score of that Rockets Warriors game was 91-90. Like at some points, I remember watching the beginning of the game and on the broadcast, Spiro Ditas was like, "Yeah, this feels like this is from your era, Grant Hill. Like this is like the score was like 14-18 with like 2 minutes left in the first quarter, whatever it was." So that'll be interesting to see, because I think that it's no secret the Thunder are more talented than the Rockets. The Rockets are a talented team, and I'm not even saying it to bash them. But if you are outmatched a little bit, even slightly, you got to make the game ugly. So it's going to feel like one of those types of games. And I say that watchers get the exact opposite of what I'm saying. But I think that makes it interesting to see what that chess match between Udoka and Daigneault is going to look like.